You're listening to Rebel Spirituality with me, Sam Goldfinch. Here's the truth. Wisdom doesn't follow rules. So each week we're going to explore what it means to wake up your way so you can live a more peaceful, creative and inspired life no matter your circumstances. It's time to blaze your unique path to truth. Hey friend. Okay. This week we're going to be talking about how our feelings are always guiding us home. And what do I mean by that? What sounds like a nice idea, but what's behind it? I speak to a lot of people who, and I think this is true for basically everybody who's been in the self-help world or psychology or psychiatry or whatever it might be. We've been given these ideas all throughout our lives that we need to learn to manage our emotions or even control our thinking or control our experience at large. And I remember one of the very early coaching call I watched. I was fascinated because this is years and years ago now. But somebody basically said, look, I need some tools to manage my anxiety. And the coach, I never forgot it. They said, why would you need to manage that? Why would you need to manage your anxiety? And they had a really, really powerful discussion around, trying to control and manage feelings. And what if we didn't have to do that? What if we were free to be able to feel things? What if those feelings were actually a guidance system? What if they were wisdom nudges? And that's how it looks to me. I really kind of want to talk about that today because for the longest time for me, there were many things in my life that looked like huge problems. So for example, my big anxiety problem or whatever it happened to be, I'd get caught up in some thinking or some feelings and I'd think, oh God, I need better management strategies, coping strategies. I need to and I'd double down, I'd get more thinking. So there's many ways that this would happen. Perhaps I'd get caught up in some I'll be happy when thinking. So the idea that I need something from outside of me, I need something in the world of form before I can be okay. And so I'd start looking for that thing. And then my system would rev up because when we believe that we're lacking something, our system starts filling up with feelings because that's just not true. It's never true. And because we feel our thinking, because I was in this kind of insecurity mode or scarcity mode, like grabbing and grasping and thinking, I can't be happy until I've got this thing or whatever it might be, my system would fill up with all these feelings. And then I'd double down. I'd be like, oh, this is a problem. I need more productivity, more pressure. And I'd double down on the thinking, which would ramp things up even more. And maybe you notice that pattern in yourself. Perhaps it's true for the anxiety problem for me as well. I thought, I've got a huge anxiety problem. I need to do something about that. And then I'd get anxiety about the fact that I had this big quote unquote anxiety problem. Well, what's happened for me over the course of the last few years is kind of miraculous, to be honest with you. Because all those things that look like huge problems are now wisdom signals. I now know that they're giving me information about one thing. They're giving me information about what's moving through my system. And so they're incredibly powerful data. There's a great metaphor of, when you're driving along and you go out the lane and they have rumble strips, they're designed to wake you up so that you don't fall asleep and veer off out the lane. Or I think in electric cars now, they have haptics now, like the steering wheel will shake and things like that. And of course, the idea is to wake us up, to let us know like you're going out of your lane. So whereas I used to get that kind of information, I'd get the information that I'm caught up, my system would go into anxiety or overwhelm or whatever it might be. And then I'd double down on the thinking and I'd think, oh, there's so much more for me to do. These days, I just see it as it's a wisdom signal. It's like it's a warning light flashing on. It's the rumble strip saying, wake up, man. Like you're likely believing something that isn't true. You're believing that you're separate from your experience. You're believing that there's a world out there with power over how you think and feel. You're believing that, it could be any number of different things. You're believing that you're not connected to an infinite intelligence that can give you what you need when you need it, right? And we'll all have different things. Like maybe we're getting information that we've got caught up in a story of a deficiency story that we're not enough. There's all sorts of different ways it might show up for us. But what I now know is that signal is a signal to put it down, right? Don't double down on that thinking. Just it's just a signal that that's where you're going in your head. So it's wake up. It's okay. And what I've noticed is it doesn't necessarily mean that something energetically shifts immediately, But if our thinking doesn't look so real, if it doesn't look so important, and that's what the signal's waking us up to, it's waking us up to the fact that we're believing in something that's not true, or that, we're really caught up, or that we've, like I say, there's all these things that we've sort of caught up with. We can put it down, not do anything with it, and our psychological immune system will move through the system. And every kid knows this because they haven't been taught to manage or judge or whatever any of their feelings. They're just awash in them. They just come and they go. 1 minute they're sad, the next minute they're happy, and there's no judgment of that. There's no making that wrong. There's none of that stuff. They're not trying to keep themselves in the present moment all the time. They are the present moment, and it's not a big deal. So their feelings just move through them, and their psychological immune system, which we all have, is always up and running. And I know for me, there's been a real shift, because it was, for many years, for well over a decade, I was trying to be what I've often referred to as a present moment ninja. I was basically trying to just force myself into the present moment, which is hilarious because where else are we going to be? But trying to just be present and knowingly present, just force myself into that all the time. Practice, lots of effort. And it's really flipped for me, because as where that was like an attempt to constantly try and inhabit full presence and all that kind of stuff, now it seems it's more helpful for me to be tuned into the signals that are letting me know that I've fallen for an illusion. Because when I feel like I'm feeling the future, I tend to fill up with anxiety and insecurity. When I'm caught up in the idea that I'm past heavy, there's certain feelings that come with that as well. And so without me having to do anything and apply loads of effort, there's a natural set of wisdom signals, wisdom nudges that are just guiding me back home to the truth. And the truth is that we're inherently whole. The truth is that feelings of peace and love and contentment come from within, right? Not within the body, but from within consciousness, from within who we really are. So, that's quite a turn up for the books in my world. And I'm really grateful for that. So I just kind of wanted to riff on that and record on that today. So I hope you are having a beautiful day, wherever you are. And if you get caught up today, it's just a signal. It's just a signal letting you know you've been caught up. Maybe it's not about doubling down on that thinking. Maybe it's just about, not that way. It's guiding you back home. I'll see you soon.